and I click that button there, and the little red light says we are live on the YouTube. Let me know in the chat if you can see this little fancy icon on your screen, and if you can hear me. Give me a 5x5 in the chat, please, and thank you very, very much. Thank y'all for being here this evening on this episode of the Four Horsemen Podcast, Vision Preparedness. Thank you so much, my friend. I'd like to get it started with a little monologue this evening. There was a time, not that long ago, when the word war crimes meant something. It was a line in the sand, a rule, a boundary that said, even in the worst moments of humanity, there are things that you do not do. But look around. Right now, as we speak, world leaders are openly talking about wiping out civilian infrastructure, power grids, bridges, entire systems that millions of people rely on just to survive. Not whispered behind closed doors, not debated in secret war rooms, said out loud on purpose. And experts, the people who actually write the rules of war, are sounding the alarm, saying, that's not strategy, that's a war crime. Meanwhile, halfway across the world, soldiers once called heroes are now being arrested for executing prisoners. And in other conflicts, rape is being used systemically as a weapon of war, not as an accident, but as a tactic. Let that sink in. This isn't history. This isn't World War II. This is now. And here's the part nobody wants to talk about. It's not just that war crimes are happening. It's that they're being normalized, justified, explained away, debated like policy options. And once that line disappears, once the world agrees that anything is on the table, then there are no rules left, no limits, no coming back. Because if destroying a city is acceptable, if targeting civilians is negotiable, then what exactly are we pretending separates us from the worst chapters in human history? This isn't about politics. This isn't about sides. This is about something far more dangerous. The moment humanity decides there are no more lines left to cross. Good evening, and thank you for joining us on this Four Horsemen Podcast. Y'all know my esteemed guests here this evening, the roaming prepper, Vision Preparedness, the Livingston Man himself. Should we kick it off with a song here this evening, fellas? Let's do this one first. There it is.
Walking calm, leaving spot. Clench fists on the truth, we connect like a chain. Got the crowd leaning in for the clash of the brains. Every take heavy, every word on flame. If you scared of the storm, better guard your frame. Steel string swing, let the bass line growl. We dissect, redirect, call a fear out loud. From the myths to the markets, all masks come off. When the horsemen ride in, fake thrones get tossed. Yeah, this the Four Horsemen Podcast. Say it once, let the name hit back. Four voices, one raw broadcast. If you came for the smoke, we pass that. Four horsemen ride. Oh, four horsemen ride. Yeah, oh. Key strike like a gavel when the facts come down. Every angle on the table, spin the whole thing round. We don't chase trends, we expose those scripts. Put the pressure on the line till the surface splits. Big talk at the bar, now it's live on air. If it shakes your beliefs, that's the price of fair. From the grind to the grief to the wins we stack. Cross the line, press play, ain't no turning back. Yeah, this the Four Horsemen Podcast. Say it once, let the name hit back. Four voices, one raw broadcast. If you came for the smoke, we pass that. Four horsemen ride. Oh, four horsemen ride. Apocalypse now, 4 horsemen riding dirty. Death on the left, keep the Glock sturdy. Famine in the kitchen, hunger like a beast. War paint ready, unleash the inner beast. Pestilence drop, spread fear in the streets. Disease hit the block, no doc can compete. Horseman information, skies turning black. Future looking bleak, no turning back. 4 horsemen riding on the edge of night. Chaos in the wake, no end in sight. 4 horsemen bringing dark to the light. End days want to get ready for the fright. Death smirking, souls counting in the tally. Coffins on standby, final ride in the alley. War ain't a game, got the war drum stumping. Battalion on the move, always be something. Famine hit the block, food vanish in the mist. Empty pots, empty bellies, can't even twist. Pestilence lingering, bodies hit the floor. Disease knocking at the door, can't ignore. 4 horsemen riding on the edge of night. Chaos in the wake, no end in sight. 4 horsemen bringing dark to the light. End days marching, get ready for the fright.
Boom. And we back, baby. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the 4 Horsemen Podcast. James, Ruby, Redbud, good to see you. PA City Prepper, Seawolf, good to see you. James in the house, Miko Wolf, the roaming prepper himself in chat and in person. What's up, my brother? Rescue, good to see you. Donald H. Hoot, good evening. William Kays, what's up? Teresa Buchanan, good evening. Good evening, Kathy. Good evening, Michelle. Good evening, everybody. Well, it looks like some 11th hour semantics were put together by Pakistan. Go figure. Who'da thunk it, right? Pakistan coming in and saving a whole civilization. Whole civilization. Saved them all. Saved everybody. Big ups to Pakistan this evening for saving humanity. I didn't think I would see it from Pakistan, but apparently coolers heads have prevailed, and here is what I have. The latest as of 36 minutes ago. The United States and Iran reach an 11th hour ceasefire deal on Tuesday evening, hours after President Trump started threatening to wipe out Iran's whole civilization. The agreement was announced by Mr. Trump in a post on social media hours after Pakistan, a mediator in the dispute, urged him to stand down from the 8 p.m. deadline he had set. So there you have it. Personally, I think it's too soon to tell. I don't think it's going to last. The last ceasefire lasted, what, like 2 minutes, right? I know that we did.
It might have been an hour.
We did get hit with some cyber attacks today, apparently from Iran. They didn't do too much damage. We still talking to everybody, as far as I know.
You read that in like the most like matter of fact way. Can you what the fuck did he say?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He's whole civilization. He was going to wipe out Iran's whole civilization if it didn't allow commercial shipping to pass safely through the Strait of Hormuz.
You want to talk about unprecedented?
Yeah, there you go.
Setting precedents. Now, what I love about this tweet is it is like completely unhinged. This is some shit I would say on Facebook at 2 a.m. after I drank an 18 pack for sure. I feel you, dog. You know what? Fucking, you get to that point.
Yeah, I'm looking for
Malone starts coming out, Rook, and you just, you know what? He's going to let him have it. And then you wake up the next morning, they're like, sir, your girl's looking at you like, yeah,
the whole civilization will die. Never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now we have complete and total regime change where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail. Maybe something evolutionary, wonderful will happen.
So
I feel like when he said that, he already knew that like this whole thing was in the works. I'm not gonna say that Trump does not play like sort of some 4D chess shit. when he said that, maybe some revolutionary, awesome thing will happen. He already knew that like this was going to happen when he said that.
Of course he did.
Trump walks this line between amazing statesman but total asshole. And it is very,
That's
very
valid.
hard to figure out what he's doing right now. This is perfect for a United States president. Yes, I'm going to come out for his psychology because, like I said, I love the whole unhinged Nixon doctrine aspect of it. They don't know. They think they're like, yo, don't fuck with him. He'll do it. He'll do it. And he has to maintain that image. And you're left to decide, like, is he bluffing? It's gunboat diplomacy, but it is a form of statesmanship that I will concede seems to be working.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong there at all.
It's scary though, because if it doesn't work,
Yeah.
that can go down the toilet really fast.
Really, really fast. So all the rhetoric of the past 3 or 4 days brought about my topic of discussion for this evening. So I am going to pose you gentlemen a scenario and then a list of questions to choose your question from. And you can pick your question to answer in this one because I think they're good questions and I think each of you might pick a different one. So here goes our first scenario of the evening. A major world power announced that in order to end the conflict quickly, they will be targeting civilian infrastructure, power grids, water systems, transportation hubs, not citizens directly. So that's your scenario. That's what's going on. Basically, what Trump said he was going to do, brought to fruition. So the questions, gentlemen, there are 3 of them here. Is this a war crime or a warfare reality? Does intent matter if the outcome is civilian suffering? And at what point does strategy become atrocity? So you guys can choose your Livingston Man is chomping at the bit. So you can pick which question or all questions. I'm sure everybody is riveted and waiting for your answer. Livingston Man, go.
The great part about, especially the second question, is that as United States citizens, we actually have set the precedent for both of these. Strategic bombing, one, the intentional, when we decided we had to take Germany and Japan, we inflicted as much civilian casualties as possible. We brought the war to their, quote, doorstep with the idea of make the people, like their national pride and everything that they believed in, erode and die. We are the ones that set the precedent for that. And the same, whereas everybody else may be widely alleged to possess nuclear weapons, the United States made a sun happen over Japan twice. We can speak to it proudly. We are the ones who did that. You want to talk about weapons of mass destruction? We actually fucking used them on somebody else. We can speak uniquely to it. I wouldn't recommend it. It was blatantly targeted towards civilian populations. It is widely considered today, 60, 80 years, forgive my math, later, would today be considered a war crime? But at the time, it was like, yeah, fuck them. We're at the yeah, fuck them stage. And in 50 years, what we have done will be considered atrocious. Just like every other stain on American history that we blame everybody else for, but we do it too.
Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's the winner of war who decides who the war crimes are and what war crimes are. So remains to be seen. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
So, the one, is this a war crime or warfare reality? the argument I've heard, and I don't know how valid it is if I just target a water treatment plant just to be a shit to the other country, that would technically be a non-military target. There was no need for that. Hypothetically, if it's a dual use, i.e., it's a power plant that powers a neighborhood and, I don't know, an artillery factory, well, then that's a legitimate target. But then you get into the slippery slope of, well, the water is used for soldiers to drink. Well, yeah, but the civilians need it too, and then you wind up, well, where does it end? The power plant, yeah, it powers the air base, but it also powers the hospital, right? That's a few miles away. It's really hard to separate those, especially as you get further into a conflict like we were, where the big military targets had already been attacked. And now you're looking for the remnants, which are often embedded in a civilian government in some way, shape, or form. At what point does it, the bridge can be used to get tanks across the river, but if you killed 150 civilian farmers who are bringing mules back and forth, well, and that's where we go into that gray area that gets ugly. And I think Livingston Man is alluding to this. You just wind up going into this terrible place.
Mm-hmm.
You breed the next generation of so-called rebels with that kind of tactic.
Totally.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
Exactly.
I agree with that.
I'm the kid in left field playing t-ball, picking dandelions.
It's not a bad place to be in.
Correct. And here's my gut. Here is my gut feeling on all of this. And I'm as serious as I am bald. Okay. I believe we are being played by all three of these countries. I think they're all three in cahoots to do what needs to be done to get us in a position to institute something we are all dreading against.
Mm-hmm.
Something ain't right. Something is not right in Denmark, and this is not typical war. And look at the last three encounters: Afghanistan and Iraq twice. There were no, well, we're just going to do this and that. No, they just did it. How many of y'all remember Shock and Awe on CNN?
Yep.
That was it.
I was 19 years old, and I remember waking up every morning to watch fresh airstrikes on the evil Ba'athist regime in Iraq.
Exactly. And now they're broadcasting before they do it. Since when do you broadcast before you do something in war?
They're wagging the dog. It's all fake.
Right. Yeah, it's the dog. We're wagging the dog. Yeah.
It's being presented to you. You're being shown like it's pure fiction until proven otherwise, and they've made it impossible to do so.
Right.
This highly respected colonel that they rescued in that daring operation, I fucking virtually guarantee you that is not what happened.
I'm with you. How do you get 125 miles away from the crash site within a 24, 48-hour period on top of a mountain? Really?
This is Comrade Ogilvy. This is create a John Rambo narrative. We need a hero.
Yeah.
But except we don't have a face, we don't have a name, we don't have anything except a story that seems very extreme.
Yeah,
exactly.
Now, Now, I'm the first one to be like, God bless the United States. And if anybody has the capability to do so, it is the United States to send nearly $1 billion worth of hardware and a whole lot of human bodies to get one dude. But here's what I propose.
Yeah.
That mission was to go in and clandestinely steal Iran's nuclear stockpile. It promptly went snafu and foobar, and this heroic, highly respected colonel we're not allowed to know who is and can't verify anything about is the cover story for it.
Yes. And so that's my take on this whole thing. Something's not right. I think the whole thing is scripted, and I don't care.
On social media, dude.
I don't care. Unless they start landing in Texas and Nevada and downtown Chicago, now I'm gonna pay attention.
Yeah, no, I mean it's just so WWE. It's so it's so entertainment oriented. Like
you'll see the news; it'll stay under there for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, the Iranian embassies are trolling Trump's tweets on X, formerly known as Twitter. Are you fucking kidding me? This is like the Allies being like, Hitler is gay.
Although that would have been funny had someone said that.
It's basically the equivalent to it. Yeah, you're 100% right, Livingston Man. So let's kick it this way. Let's pose this scenario. Another nation responds. If they do it, we'll do worse. Now both sides escalate, targeting infrastructure, cyber attacks on hospitals, food supply disruptions, the whole 9 yards, right? If the gloves come off on one, the gloves come off on all. Mm-hmm. Let's say that's our scenario here, right? The questions are, is escalation inevitable once the line is crossed? Do the laws of war only exist when both sides agree to follow them? And are we already seeing the early stages of this globally? So you pick them. You pick the order. You pick the question. Let us have it. Let me know what you think. I've got my thoughts, but I will reserve those. All right. I'll
start this monkey in the back first. Is escalation inevitable once the line is crossed? Sure. You throw a rock at me, guess what? I'm going to throw a rock back. Should I? No, I shouldn't. I should just walk away. But depending on what is done, normally 9 out of 10 times you're going to get a bigger rock to throw back. Yeah. And that does nothing but make them throw a bigger rock. And then next thing you know, we've got nukes going off and all that good stuff. Okay. Do laws of war only exist when both sides agree to follow them? Okay. What laws of war? What are we talking about? The Geneva Convention?
Basically, targeting of civilian infrastructure, direct targets of civilians, things like that. That's all what would be considered a war crime, right? Civilian targeting, civilian infrastructure targeting, hospitals, schools, things like that.
Okay. Has it happened? Sure, it's happened. Do the laws exist when both sides agree? Well, I don't know. If neither side agrees, the law is the law. If it's already written in stone and concrete and says, you don't bomb schools with kids in them, and if you do, then you will pay a price. Plain and simple. Whether or not they do it, that's on them two jokers. Are we already seeing the early stages of this globally? What we see is a script that is written and being played out. Now, I unfortunately don't have the script, so I can't tell you, will this escalate? Will it get worse? Will there be a full-blown invasion, boots on the ground? Honestly, if you look at the terrain of Iran, there's no way I'm putting boots on the ground. I'm going to bomb you back into the 15th century. But are we seeing the early stages? I I think we're being led to believe we're seeing the early stages.
I think so too. I think you're right. I think this tit for tat stuff is going to just continue to escalate. Right? We've seen it. Everybody says that Iran's capabilities are degraded, yet I still see them launching hundreds, if not thousands, of projectiles a day, whether they're drones or ballistic missiles or whatever they're firing. They're firing every day.
Yeah.
From new places, new destinations. They just pop up out of the ground and ballistic missile away, right?
Right.
So obviously, we're not getting the whole story here.
Yeah.
Pete, what are your thoughts? I can bring the scenario back up if you want. I know we got a little bit away from it. Another nation responds. If they do it, we'll do worse. Now both sides escalating.
See, and I'm going to use a historical reference. In World War II, originally, when the British and Germans, before the U.S. got involved, they were bombing one another. The fight on the ground in Europe was not going well for the Allies, right? The German blitzkrieg was just kicking the hell out of everyone. And I think it was the Brits allegedly got off course and bombed a civilian area in Austria or Germany. And up until that point, everyone was like, yeah, the new rules after World War I, there's no chemical, no gas weapons, and we bomb military targets. And once they did that and they killed a bunch of civilians, Hitler was like, the Nazis went, well, what the hell? So I said, fine, you want to bomb cities? Let's go. And then they bombed the shit out of England.
Mm-hmm.
Does it mean it's inevitable? No, but the probability of it escalating in it will most certainly increase because it starts changing the equation, right? And then there are other factors because you're like, okay, well, if you're going to bomb civilians, I can do it too. And now your resources will have to deal with the war and the civilian casualties.
Yeah.
Which works, that favors me, right? If I'm the aggressor, choose strung thin to where your people have no heart to fight.
Right.
It had the opposite effect in World War II, but still, it strings out the resources. To the second question, you haven't cried about the shotgun. Yeah. That's not wrong, by the way.
No.
Laws of war exist only.
I understood that reference.
Honestly, the laws of war, even if people have intent to follow them, it's one of those, to me, it becomes one of those, well, they'll obey it, but if need be, they won't. And as long as nobody gets caught, it didn't happen. I'm pretty sure there have been cases in the last 50 years where, look at Vietnam, right? And, people under the stresses of combat, they start getting nutty.
Oh, yeah.
People lose their marbles. It's not them being evil. It's humans are not meant to go through that for an extended period of time.
No, definitely not.
And inevitably, even if leadership intends to obey, when it gets all the way down to the guys and men and women on the ground, things happen. And then people are like, we just don't need to bring that up ever again. And it just goes away, or they try to go away. Inevitably, when you have an escalation like that and you start pushing those boundaries, it increases the probability that everyone's going to do the same. And that's 100%. When you start seeing that spiral effect. And you're seeing it right now. I do think we're seeing it globally. You look at Ukraine right now. There's some cities in Donbass are just gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, the Russians were taking civilians and just taking the whole populace and saying, you're going to Russia now. And I'm pretty sure Ukraine was doing the same. We may not have said it. I guarantee you there are civilians on both sides that have been deleted, so to say, by the respective armies because people lost their marbles or the men were just angry and somebody, well, you guys gave them our position, so we're going to shoot your town.
Yeah.
I think the intent may be there, but when it starts to spiral, it's just going to be whoever's the most violent is going to try to win.
Yeah.
It's sad, but it's true.
And they really don't care about collateral damage.
No.
When you start again, it goes to, you're there with your team and somebody shoots one of your guys, your friend, from a town. You're like, you know what? Screw that town. Oh, there's an enemy unit in the town. There might just be one sniper. You're not going to risk more guys. You're going to bomb the whole town and be done with it.
Right.
Oh, there was a sniper. It was a military target. Those are the kind of, it's happened before.
Yeah, it feels like it's all kind of unwinding right now. It feels like there's no end in sight. There's damn sure no off ramp for this, right? We're watching the two trains heading at each other, and it's hard to look away. It really is. Livingston Man, your thoughts? Would you like me to bring up the scenario one more again?
I'm looking at the questions, but let's bring up the scenario.
Okay, scenario is another nation responds. If they do it, we'll do worse. Now both sides are escalating, targeting infrastructure, cyber attacks on hospitals, food supply disruptions, the whole 9 yards, right? So the questions are: is escalation inevitable once the line is crossed? Do the laws of war only exist when both sides agree to follow them? And are we already seeing the early stages of all of this globally?
I'm going to answer these backwards. We are, without question, already seeing the early stages of this globally. Global trust in institutions such as the UN, Interpol, like any sort of global intelligence, law enforcement, military alliances and things. A lot of just fracture and schism and doubt just in the entire, cooperative atmosphere of the world right now. Everything's so volatile. You don't know what's going on. And what you see is a rise of strongmen. Because nations are realizing that, those institutions are actually toothless and we can actually do whatever the hell we want. So we will, starting from the top down with the superpowers and all the way down through their proxies, and you see it. Yes, we are already seeing I wouldn't even call it the early stages of it. I'm calling it like the middle ages of it. Do the laws of war only exist when both sides agree to follow them? Off the top of my head, I would say yes. The laws of war only exist when both sides agree to follow them. And every time warfare has been introduced to human society, atrocities have been committed, retributions have been enacted. But I did some research while we were talking here.
Awesome.
Can you still hear?
Yep.
Okay. An interesting thing about United States soldiers in general, and I only point to them because that's what I searched for. I asked AI if now the Geneva Conventions and stuff we were talking about, and the most widely cited of those is the 1949 agreements, which happened, 4 years after we dropped nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and after we turned Germany into a potato patch through strategic bombing and targeting of civilian infrastructure and civilians themselves. But at the time, we were operating under the 1929 Geneva Convention, which we violated completely. Many times, not only through the strategic bombing I just mentioned, but also that we, at the end of the war, we took a lot of hundreds of thousands, in fact, German prisoners and classified them as disarmed enemy forces rather than prisoners of war. Because since the war was over, they weren't prisoners of war. But by doing this, we didn't have to provide care or aid to them and put them in the same open air sort of concentration camps that we got a real problem with today. The strategic bombings of cities, especially Dresden and Tokyo, were actually worse than the atomic bombings in terms of loss of life, devastation.
Yeah.
Execution of prisoners. Now, everybody that went to war in World War II executed prisoners, but yes, we did this too. So for the United States to speak on issues of war crimes is to have committed them atrociously at first and then made what we did illegal. United States soldiers, because the United States is not a member of the International Criminal Court. Its soldiers are, we don't recognize, they cannot be detained or otherwise arrested or put under the control of the International Court. And in fact, where did it say it? You can basically, like, we will go there and do a show there. If you detain our troops for war crimes, like, we were going to come to your house and we're going to get that dude. Okay. And U.S. insists that this is a thing, and that's how it works. You will often, if you are in the know, especially service members, and perhaps it's a hard truth, but that certain deployments, like when you go to Okinawa, you can drive drunk and run over civilians and nothing's going to happen to you. That's why. This explains a lot about why the rest of the world's attitude toward America, because we don't particularly practice what we preach. We're disgusted and I'm horrid. I can't believe that you would do the things that we would do to you, to us. And the whole world looks at it like, do you hear and see yourself? And I'm not talking about American citizens. I'm talking about American military and government policy. But that's the hard truth, folks. And one of the questions you might ask yourself is, are we the fucking bad guys, man?
That's a really good question. Dan Rose has a good question for everybody. Questions in between the questions. These ones are my favorite. Dan Rose says, for Horsemen, do you think the drone warfare is like the V1 buzz bombs from World War II?
Absolutely, but on steroids.
Yeah. Seek and destroy.
Those Iranian ones are practically those are just better versions of V1s. They even sound the same. You can hear them.
They do sound the same.
Yeah.
Of course, the buzz bombs, what were they, like half a ton? I don't think these. I don't know.
No,
some of those Iranian bombs are pretty big, but I don't
smaller,
think they're that.
loaded with explosives. That's for sure. Outpost Nomad, what's good, brother?
The problem with the flying bombs, V1 and the V2, they were both revolutionary weapons, but they were severely underpowered. But their basic concept is still used today in every guided missile and even spacecraft.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Rescue says, we have the diplomats that come here and get away with any crime because of their diplomat status. 100% rescue.
That's a little different. That's a little different. They're not armed.
Diplomatic immunity.
Yes.
I'm not shitting on the U.S. All I said is what the fucking laws and facts are, dude. So if you consider that shitting on the U.S., well, I'm sorry, I didn't do that.
HDRV man, Livingston Man, he's chomping at the bit. He needs to hear the song. He needs to hear "Eve of Destruction" by the Livingston Man, because it wouldn't be by its original guy. But
that's a copyright thing. Mike needs to not get copyright stuff. We can play that.
Right.
We can play that 3 weeks from now.
Hey, I tell you what, if you dig in the Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival archives, it is on the channel somewhere demonetized so that it couldn't be struck. But the video is on the channel somewhere in our video section. It's all red background and the Livingston Man ripping Eve of Destruction. Believe it or not, it's there. It's there. I'll share it after the stream. HDRV man.
I wonder if I could present it. It must be here somewhere.
It's got to be. But I'll share the link to it after the stream.
I mean, we also have to.
This ain't no Livingston Man show.
When you get into these, a conflict like that, you have a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
Right? So you have two groups of guys go into a town or a city and they're fighting with each other. Chances are everything other than the enemy becomes background.
Yeah.
Because they're focused on fighting each other. Yep. Inevitably, you're going to have the civilian casualties.
Yep. Collateral damage.
And they're not going to stop. Like if a guy I'm getting shot at and somebody pops out and I shoot him and oh crap, it was, Farmer Joe. Sorry, Joe, but I'm still getting shot at by McMuffin over there, so I'm going to have to fight him. And you know, at the end of it, whoever survives is just, you know, this big disaster. Nobody knows what happened.
In every single conflict, civilians have bore the weight of the bloodshed, without question. In some cases, in extreme amounts. In World War II, like military deaths, what are classified as military deaths, pale in comparison to the just absolute atrocious march of death that occurred because of this conflict. To answer Mike's last question, is escalation inevitable? It used to be. I think that only certain nations, and I think maybe there's only 2 or 3, are capable of escalation. And I also think that perhaps like only those 3 nations would consider escalation necessary, whereas warfare is a political tool. It's being used as one. For once, this isn't a war about blind hatred and racist slurs. This is actually about like political means. That's what is it? Who is it? Clausewitz. He said, "War is politics by other means." That's what this is. That's exactly what they're doing. I want the oil. I want this. I want that. I'm going to take it. I'm going to use my fucking peasant force of an army. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And what I mean by that is you got fucking Joe Blow from Idaho in the $10 billion tank to go enforce the will of the oligarchs who want the fucking oil. That's what I mean by that. I'm not insulting the American soldier. I am saying that it's pawns. Chess is what it is, and it has never changed.
100%. Dan Rose with another great question. For Horsemen, do you guys think we go to conflict with Iran so we lose our supplies so we can't fight the big East nation? I don't know, man. I think a lot of our the stuff that we would actually go to war with China with is still sitting in the sea, just launching aircraft from it and practicing with the sea rams on taking out anything that flies that we don't want to land. But I do think that Iran played its cards well in this confrontation early on. They threw all their old stuff early, and now they're breaking out the really cool shit, right? The cluster munitions, the ballistic missiles. Those are inflicting the most damage, and they knew they were destroying the capabilities of interceptors by bombarding early on, right? Because those interceptors are so expensive, and they're throwing $30,000 drones, and it takes $500,000 to even attempt to intercept one of those things. And we're hitting the button.
That was easy.
Over and over and over.
That cartoon lizard. Yeah.
My homie VAKA Show and Tell. He thinks that we got plenty of weapons to fight.
She.
That person thinks that we got plenty of weapons to be able to fight China. I want everybody to hold up anything in your immediate vicinity that wasn't made in China right now.
Okay, here you go, Livingston Man. This is a Ticonderoga pencil made in Ticonderoga, New York, with graphite mined in New York and pine cut in the Adirondacks.
That was made in Budapest.
Me.
All right.
Vision says me.
Good. I'm glad we're all so proud. Now, how about your computer and or your cell phone?
Made in Taiwan.
That's different.
Taiwan. South Korea. Taiwan, yeah. South Korea.
You're lying. The clothes on you right now are made in China. Like your socks were made in China. Bruh, the socks, they're going to activate the socks. Fuck with China. They're just going to turn off and activate the socks.
What if it was made in the Philippines?
You know, walk no more, Mr. Pete.
You know
I pity the fool. Yo, they went on Temu and they bought flashlights. Do you know what's going to happen to those guys?
They're going to blow up.
Worse. Like Trent, they're going to become Manchurian candidates. That's how they get you.
Oh, good golly.
That's like that movie.
You can't get it off with the finger trap. It was Dragon a party favor for his 8th birthday.
Yeah, Dragon Day. That was.
That was a little cheeky, right? It was a little silly, but like. It got the point across. It's like,
It did. It did. It really did. All right. So, no, he's African for real African.
All right, check it out. New political ideology just dropped. Okay, I'm gonna break it down. United States, Russia, China, sit down, have a steak, drink some liquor, run this shit.
Yeah.
All the rest of them. You know what?
Why not?
Let's look it in the face and call it real.
Yeah.
And stop playing with all these little young busters, young on the block, want to be loud, shoot their guns. Like, listen to old money, son. How about
old money?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. They need to come to the table, Putin, Ping Pong, and the orange guy, and say, look, y'all, here's what we're going to do. We're going to divvy up the world, and we're going to run this. And then we're going to give pole-to-pole treaty to Livingston Vision Enterprises, and we're going to deliver worldwide.
I think it's a fair broker's fee for putting this together. Yeah. I'm saying, I mean, we just we're running these streets. All right. Enough of this juvenile gang warfare, all y'all Boko Haram and all this Nazi gangs. Why don't y'all sit your punk ass down, submit to a higher, why don't you still come with, bro, let's get money.
Mm-hmm. Go back up on the porch and let the big dog run there.
I'm saying.
Dan Rose
loud.
Dan Rose says, do you think North Korea will be next? Cuba, Venezuela, Iran, North Korea are not a part of the World Bank. I think Cuba's kind of done itself in. Cuba's a floundering fish, right? Like one of the ones you see on the surface, like barely kicking. Barely kicking. We're gonna have to go in and rebuild Cuba, and I'm sure it will be part of the Gulf of America. We'll call it like I don't know, Puerto Rico East or something. I don't know, but
we'll call it Cumerica.
Cumerica. Old grouchy guy says Cuba is begging everyone for help. I believe it. Canadian says Cuba, the next Canadian province. Well, you guys got to have somewhere to go in the wintertime. I get it. I get it, Canadian. I get it.
We should just make a giant sex crimes theme park and call it Trump Island.
Rescue, have a great night, brother. Thank you so much for stopping in tonight. Appreciate you being here.
Have a good one, Rescue.
Tough crowd. Okay.
The HDRV man says the Schaefer beer is being made again. That was my high school, mid 70s. Schaefer's beer.
It was like $1.99 a 12 pack. You get it at ShopRite.
It's delicious. Okay, my last scenario of the evening for everybody, as time draws to a close here on the Four Horsemen podcast. You're not in the war zone, but your grid goes down. Fuel is rationed, supply chains freeze, no internet, no resupply. Mm-hmm. Your questions are, how fast does normal society become without rule of law? How many days before emergency services stop responding? And what should people actually be preparing for right now? These are the hard questions.
Society is going to go without rule of law in something like 3 to 7 days. You have roughly that or half that before emergency services stop responding. And what should you do right now? I'm going to tell you what you should do right now. And this is a real pain in the ass because it's kind of late at night on a Tuesday, but you should change all your passwords. All of them. Go through all the two-factor identification and do all that shit because the cyber attacks inbound. Change all your passwords. Do all your shit. Don't get hacked on Facebook. Don't let the North Koreans steal the $13 you have in your bank account. None of that. Also, fill up your tank because gas prices are going up.
I just want to know how you knew it was $13.
Yeah.
That's all I want to know.
It was a good round
$13.
number.
Yeah, it's
you give it away.
The LMPD has capabilities that would make them massage jizz in their
LMPD.
pants.
And you know, we're working on our own brand of AI with the Livingston PD and premium blend. That's how we blend it.
We're selling them as delivery drones, but
Correct.
you know,
Exactly.
Wait. Are you firing the drones with the product in it and it hits and then the cans come out?
no, these are autonomous cybernetic
You're going to break
Livingston
windows
Man
on that.
Pete.
Okay.
We're at Livingston Men. You can meet me. I will personally deliver it, or
Yeah.
will I?
We
Was
have
it
thermal
Those
and
Amazon
optical.
drones that are crashing. Have you seen that?
I shoot him down. I don't care what it's carrying. It's got something somebody wanted.
Correct.
All right,
Okay,
Mike, I
next
asked you a question. I'll stop fucking around. Sorry.
How fast does normal society become rule without rule?
I think it'll vary depending on where you are.
I think the bigger cities will fall quicker
Totally.
because once the internet's gone and power's gone, it's every man for themselves, period.
Mm.
How many days before emergency services stop responding? I would say I'd give it a week. And they're like, no, because I have a family and I'm going home to them.
Mhm.
And what should people actually be preparing for right now? The same thing you were preparing for 10 days ago.
Yeah.
2 months ago, 6 months ago, 3 years ago. Anything. Food, water, shelter, security, communication.
If you're not sure what you should prepare for the basics
Yes.
and then evolve from there. If
Yep.
you're starting, or if you kind of, because sometimes you get frazzled with day-to-day life and you're like, oh, I wanted to prepare something. Go get some, Mylar, bag some stuff or can some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, how fast would it become WROL would be contingent a lot on where you live.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
do agree with the gentleman. If you're in Manhattan, like
Get out
one
now.
of our favorite firefighters who has a great channel,
Get out now.
I'll tell you what, that could go sideways fast.
Mm-hmm.
You're out in the country and everyone owns a little ranch and a homestead. It may take much longer. And it's the same for emergency services, right? But
Yeah.
I also think, and honestly, so the emergency services may go on for a week or more. I think the ability to call them the way we normally do will change within 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying this not hypothetically. During Harvey, when the first couple of storms hit and the flooding really started, because the storm just sat there and spewed rain, right? So the rain hit Houston and then it kept going north. Well, north was uphill. So it rained up there, and then 6 hours later, here comes another batch of rain. But the runoff from up north also came south. This is what happened in the Texas floods, year before last? And if you call the cops for someone trying to steal your car, good luck.
Yeah. They're not
If you
coming.
weren't dying or there was like violence, forget it. Their priority was to keep general control and to coordinate people getting out.
Mm-hmm.
So within 24 hours of the flooding really getting serious, the priorities of the first responders completely changed.
Yeah.
And so technically they were on calls, but they weren't they were prioritizing. And if I had a traffic accident or someone broke into my car, you may not see a cop.
Right. Exchange information and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, Travis's comment here, community EMS will help until there is no place to take them. 2 days max. I think if there's something that happens where a lot of people could get injured, right? For instance, grid down, right? And it happens in the evening like this. It's dark out finally. People are walking around their house. All of a sudden the lights go out. You're going to have so many some grandpa fell down the stairs calls that it's going to be hard to deal with. The hospitals will be flooded immediately. One, because they're one of the few places that will have backup power, and people will go there just to have lights and be, I don't feel good, because they have power and internet and television and they can find out what's going on. So I think Travis's point is super valid. And I think it leads to the fact that our hospitals are going to be flooded. Emergency services are going to be overwhelmed during any kind of disaster.
Yep.
And, the questions are in the order I put them up, but the order in which you answer them, it says how many days before emergency services stop responding. Well, that's directly going to tie into how fast does normal society become without rule of law, because to get to without rule of law, you need the loss of those services, right? They have to be completely gone for you to experience without rule of law. So Dan Rose says stuck in elevators. Don't forget about that one too. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that.
And especially in cities where you have a lot of high-rise buildings, like Houston has some, but nowhere near, Chicago, New York, Boston. Firefighters are going to go out and they're going to try and put out fires so 500 people don't die. But if you get stuck and you're an elder, or you're freezing or overheated, or you have no water, the firemen are not sufficient to go to all these buildings and help millions of people.
I'm going to tell you something right now. In a grid down in the United States right now, about 30,000 people would be stuck in elevators.
I believe it.
Across the country, Livingston Man. That's nationwide.
That's I think that's 0.01%.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. The guy said it right here. Canadian. He said big cities, 2-3 weeks, most people will kill each other. All right. I'm not going to dispute that. Without rule of law and in the face of some, society changing catastrophe, that atrocities will occur. But actually, the thing that you see with especially localized catastrophe is people coming together and making it work, man, doing what they can. Like, when no one's coming to help them, they help each other. And you see it every time. That spirit of America, which isn't really a spirit of America, it's human fucking nature.
Yeah.
To help others in need, especially when you are all sharing in the same trauma. I have here's a little glimmer of hope from the fucking least likely to give you one. In the face of something like a nation-changing, civilization-changing catastrophe, you will see the best in everyone come out. Mm-hmm. We are all going to share in the trauma. There will be no more stratification and caste system of society. There will be, because we are all sharing the same pain.
Socialism.
You know what I mean? So as much as I certainly don't wish for some absolute catastrophe, I promise you that what you will see when that happens, you're going to see the bad, but you're going to see the best.
Yeah,
too.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with you, Livingston Man. I think there are some first responders who take their job super seriously, right? And even if they have family at home, they will not abandon their post, right? You're going to have your Andy Griffiths out there and your firefighters with the bucket trying to take care of an apartment fire. There are people, that job is so ingrained into them that it is their life, and they will do it until they die. And that includes in disasters, right? Some people will not leave their post. They will continue the watch, and they will keep going. And then on the other hand, you got the folks that the first sign that something's wrong and a paycheck's not coming next week, they're packing up their bat and ball and they're going home. They're going home to their families. They're going home to protect what's theirs, especially when they see things aren't getting so good and other people have stopped coming into work, right? Yeah. So I believe we're going to see both sides of the coin, just like the Livingston Man said, the best and the worst in people.
Yeah, everyone that disagreed with what I said or otherwise dismissed it or called it hopelessly optimistic. Well, what the fuck else am I supposed to try to live for tomorrow for, man? All right. Don't let your beliefs inadvertently lead you to some doomsday cult where if the world don't end, you're disappointed. It's not what we're fucking doing here. Okay. At least not what I'm doing here. The world ends. Me and Trent have no income.
True. That's very true.
Yeah, now if the world ends, nobody has an income.
No.
So there's that.
Everything's barter at that point.
Yeah. True story.
If you low key found yourself wishing Trump or whoever, somebody's going to drop a nuke or some catastrophe is going to happen or some death and destruction is going to come to someone, anyone, and get chilled the fuck out. Okay. That's not what this is for. This is not doing this to then have your, lifestyle validated because yes, you were right. Of course you want to be prepared if that eventuality happens. We do not hope for it. We do not wish this would happen. I don't, excuse me. I said we. I do not wish this would happen. I wish, and I wish in one hand and shit in the other. But what I wish is for a world where a podcast like this and conversations like these aren't even necessary because it's not a fucking thing. Fuck me, right?
Yeah, no, you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong at all. I prepare because I want the insurance, right?
Yep.
I prepare because I've seen shit happen in other places. I prepare because I've watched things literally come ashore while warning people who would not listen to me, who were in a shittier position later for having dismissed what I said as craziness. It sucks, man. It sucks, and we're not going to be able to save everybody. We're not going to be able to reach everybody. But I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. And if you're in the chat and this resonated with you and you have people that you love that you're trying to reach, maybe this is the one that reaches them. Share it out, and hopefully it finds somebody that is looking for their way in preparedness. They're trying to start their preparedness journey because they can read the writing on the wall now. They have received the magic glasses, right? They put them on, and everything now is different because I got my magic glasses on.
Are those like the X-ray glasses you ordered in the comic books years ago?
Yes. I can see right through your shirt, Pete. That is a dope tattoo, man. But they have their magic glasses on now, and maybe they just need a little bit of encouragement in the right direction. And that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. Make everybody think a little bit, think outside of the box, and question what you're being shown, because nobody knows what's even real anymore. So, gentlemen, thank you for this amazing Four Horsemen podcast. I really appreciate y'all coming together again this evening for another one. We've been crushing this now. I think over a year we've been doing the Horsemen podcast for now. Yeah. The Horsemen podcast is 1 year old and climbing. No signs of slowing down. No signs of slowing down.
Me and Trent have been building momentum. Like, we ain't even released a product yet, but we got subscribers, dude. I guarantee you.
Yep.
This is pre-marketing.
Auto delivery. It's coming.
It's coming.
And I think I speak for both of us when I say thank you for the platform and the soapbox to kickstart the project, if you will.
Yes, sir.
We kick because we kicking bodies into the blender and the grinder and into the freeze dryer and into the oven and down the steps. We got a statue of Trent at the door of the facility. It's like, send us your poor, your felons, your sex offenders, your dregs of society. Yeah.
But you have to filter the meth heads because.
I get you. That's the energy food, Pete.
The energy.
That's the pre-workout. That's the energy. That's the energy blend.
That's the energy blend.
Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. One more time. And we are headed out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us, this Four Horsemen podcast. Keep doing the thing. We appreciate y'all.
Apocalypse now, 4 horsemen riding dirty. Death on the left, keep the Glock sturdy. Famine in the kitchen, hunger like a beast. War paint ready, unleash the inner beast. Pestilence drop, spread fear in the streets. Disease hit the block, no doc can compete. Horseman information, skies turning black. Future looking bleak, no turning back. 4 horsemen riding on the edge of night. Chaos in the wake, no end in sight. 4 horsemen bringing dark to the light. Want to get ready for the fright. Death smirking, souls counting in the tally. Coffins on standby, final ride in the alley. War ain't a game, got the war drum stumping. Battalion on the move, always be something. Famine